You ever just had one of those days when everything is sort of going against you, but in such a manner that it has to be, like, surreal? Where so many bad things have happened to you that it just becomes sort of comical? Where you can't think of what could possibly go wrong next, only for the next thing to definitely go wrong? Well, you might have been a victim of one of the Trickster gods. They are fantastic little deity types who like to dick with humans and or try to save their own skin when the rest of the world doesn't seem to like the tricks that they're playing. So today we're going to talk about the idea of a god of tricksterdom, and I'm going to tell you about him. So the idea of a trickster-type deity goes back for ages and ages and ages and forever. I mentioned Coyote. He's one of the sort of Native American ones who is a trickster-type deity, but also, like, actually is kind of cool once in a while. You'll find that most of the trickster deities are sort of like that. For instance, Loki, the traditional trickster god, and when everyone is like, oh, the trickster, it's definitely Loki. But Loki's not always a shitbag. Sometimes he actually helps out to keep, his realm safe from the frost giants or other things like that. There's so many stories that you can tell that are just like fun stuff that happened thanks to the trickster god. I think the reason that trickster gods exist is because people wanted reasons to be able to tell funny stories, and there wasn't a better medium than the medium of, like, oral history and mythology in that time. So now we've got people like Reynard the Fox. Basically, he shows up as a literary counter, a sort of parody to the literature of the time, the, like, shocking romances and the morality plays and things like that. His whole deal is that he constantly, like, tries to trick others to do his bidding, or to try to get out of having to deal with the people that are mad at him from having tricked others. The only antagonist that he really has is what I think is his uncle, this big great wolf called Isengrin. Anyone who's familiar with the comic Gunnar Krigg Court will notice that I've said a couple names that are referencing that. There's Reynard the Fox as Reynardine, and of course Isengrin just is Isengrin. And we've already talked about Coyote. Coyote is there too. Isengrin is supposed to be the straight man to Reynard the Fox, where he tries to, like, bro, like, stop being such a dick to people and fix your act. Pretty much every trickster god that I can think of right off the bat has the straight man counter to it, which I think is hilarious because that's also one of the, like, major concepts in comedy in general, is having, like, a duo of somebody who's just stupid and ridiculous, and then the straight man to play off of that. So I'm going to tell you some stories that are associated with some of these trickster gods. Let's start with my absolute favorite story of any trickster whatsoever, and that's about Tanuki. So in Japan, Tanuki are these sort of shape-shifting, mischievous spirits. The raccoon dog. They're a real thing, like, they're an actual animal, but they're also, like, so culturally significant that there's statues of these ridiculous raccoon dog things, like, all over the place, and they always have, like, a stupid hat, a ridiculous-looking face, and a giant nutsack. And I'll tell you the reason why for that. In real life, Tanukis actually have just gigantic oversized testicles, except for Super Mario World, because I don't think they could put a nutsack on Mario in the Tanuki suit. But anyway, so Tanuki basically has the power to shapeshift and to turn into stuff, and he also has a gigantic nutsack. So, let's put these two things together, and we'll talk about the family who went out on a picnic and set up their picnic blanket next to a tree and went down to the river to try to get water for the picnic. And a Tanuki came by, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna dick with these people for funsies. So he turned into the tree, and took his gigantic nutsack and laid it out as the blanket. The family comes back, they eat their lunch on the blanket, and then halfway through, the Tanuki, as the tree, starts talking and is like, ha ha ha, actually I'm a Tanuki, and you guys have been sitting on my nutsack the whole time. Poof, now I'm back to the Tanuki, but I still have a gigantic nutsack, and you're sitting on top of it. Isn't this funny? And then he runs away. The end. There is a story about how Coyote had to get the moon back. The story basically goes that Coyote is a shit hunter and doesn't actually catch very much of anything for himself, but he sees the eagle, who is the straight man in this story. And the eagle is like, yeah, I'm gonna catch a shit ton of rabbits and I'm gonna eat all of them, except for now I've caught so many that I couldn't possibly eat all of these rabbits. And Coyote comes up and he's like, do you want to hunt together? And the eagle's like, sure, fuck it, why not? So they go out hunting, and Coyote's a shit hunter, so he doesn't catch anything, so he looks for an excuse, and he says, well, it's dark, I can't really see anything, that's why I can't catch anything. And the eagle's like, no problem, I got this. There's a tribe of people down the road. They have light in these boxes. So they go down the road, and they hang out with these people doing their sacred dances for a while. And there's a big box and a little box. And in the big box, when you open it up, there's a huge amount of light. And in the little box, there's just like a conveniently small amount of light. So Coyote goes, let's steal that box. Let's steal the big box, because then we'll have enough light to hunt forever. And I will totally be able to catch things, even though I'm a shit hunter and that was just an excuse. And Eagle is like, maybe we shouldn't steal it because you're a shitbag and you always want to steal stuff. But then Coyote's like, nah, it's fine, let's just steal it, right? Eagle goes, okay, I got this. So then he goes over and he shuffles about a little bit, and then he comes back holding the huge box. And he's flying up in the sky, and Coyote's like following him on the ground, and he's getting all tired, and he's like, ugh. So they're going on, and Coyote starts lagging behind. But then he goes, hey, listen, why don't you let me carry the box for a little while? But then Eagle's like, no, you fuck everything up, so let's probably just let me carry it. But then a little while goes on, and Coyote's like, listen though, like, maybe I should carry the box for a while? I mean, we're supposed to be partners, right? And Eagle is like, no, but you fuck everything up, though. I'd much rather it be safe so that I carry it. And they go on for a little while longer, and Coyote's like, listen, if I don't carry the box at all, then people are gonna say that I'm lazy, and I don't really want that kind of reputation, and so can I maybe just... And Eagle is like, dude, all you ever do is fuck stuff up, so I'm just gonna carry the box, if that's okay with you. But then a little while longer, Coyote goes, bro, listen, I get it, you're the boss, just let me carry the box for a little while. And apparently there's a thing in Native American folklore that if somebody asks you for something 4 times, you're supposed to let them have it. So Eagle goes, fine, and then he hands him the box. Eagle is flying, and Coyote's like trudging along with this huge box, and he falls behind, and Eagle flies on, so then Coyote ducks behind a hill and is like, alright, let's take a look at what's in this box, because his trickstery plan worked. So he opened up the box, and Eagle had put both the sun and the moon in the box. When he opened the box, both of them tumbled out, and Coyote couldn't catch them both. So as soon as the moon came out, it went way up, like, bouncing off and then into the sky, and suddenly everything got cold and it started snowing, and, like, plants started to wither and die and that sort of junk. And then the sun flew straight up and then set way over there, and because it's winter now, it didn't come up for, like, a far longer time than normal. So, it is because of Coyote's incessant meddling and wanting to trick other people out of their shit that we have winter now. In Canterbury Tales, there is the tale of the nun's priest. So the story basically goes like this. There is a rooster called Chanticleer, and he's the best singer, and he has a beautiful hen wife whose name I don't remember, but basically they bang, like, all the time, because he's such a good rooster. Anyway, one day he has a dream of, like, an orange thing coming and killing him. So he tells his hen wife about it, and she's like, probably don't worry about it, just, it's fine, just don't, you know, whatever. She sort of dismisses his prophecy, even though in this period in time it is often said that murder is supposed to reveal itself through dreams. But then one day, as he is crying in the morning, there is a fox that's sitting and, like, waiting outside. And the fox is like, your singing is amazing. You've got the best voice in the entire place. And he just flatters and flatters and flatters this rooster, Chanticleer. And so Chanticleer is like, yeah, you really think so? Ha ha ha. Yeah, I'm actually pretty good, aren't I? And then Reynard is like, would you do me the credit of singing a song for me again so that I can hear it? And Chanticleer is like, oh yeah, I totally got this. So he, like, you know, ruffles his feathers out, and he wiggles his tail a little bit, and he stands real straight, and he sticks his neck way out, and he starts to sing, and then the fox reaches in and grabs him by the throat and runs off with him. He gets back to, like, where the other foxes are and all that stuff, and Chanticleer, who is still in his mouth, is like, wow, you sure got me. You definitely are the best kind of fox, because you tricked me into just letting you bite my neck. You should tell everyone else about that story. And the fox is like, yeah, I am a pretty good one, aren't I? I'll just tell everyone else this story. And as soon as he opens his mouth, Chanticleer runs off. You can see a common thread through these. In 2 of the 3 stories that I've told so far, the trickster has turned out to have gotten his comeuppance at the end, where in the Japanese one, he is just a trickster, and he runs off after having made people sit on his nutsack for a while. But so this is like a literary trope that's super common. A parallel here can be made with the literary convention, I guess is the good word for it, of a character making a deal with the devil, and then the devil is like, yeah, no, totally making, like, a monkey's paw deal with this. The devil tricks the other person into making this deal, but then the other person who's made the deal finds a way to trick the devil back. And that's, like, a huge trope. You'll find this in songs like The Devil Went Down to Georgia. The devil shows up and is like, hey, Johnny, you play the fiddle sure real good. Betcha I can beat you at it. Johnny's like, I mean, yeah, I do play the fiddle real good, and I do bet you I can beat you. And the devil's like, yeah, I got this. And he plays this super, like, wicked-ass song. But then Johnny afterwards is like, nah, I'm just gonna stomp your ass on it. And he stomps the ass out of Satan, and then takes this golden fiddle, which by all rights should not be very good to play. But anyway, he's got a fiddle made of gold now, because he outsmarted the devil and was just better than him. That seems to be the, like, pervasive trope in literature regarding the trickster god in interaction with other things. You've seen the trickster on both sides of the antagonist and protagonist coin, so it's not like you can say, oh, the trickster, he's always a bad guy. Or, oh, the trickster, he's always a good guy. He tends to just be a guy. And this is further exemplified in the Cirque du Soleil performance Kuza, where one of the 2 main characters, there's the innocent and the trickster. The innocent is the mime fellow who has a kite at the very beginning and end, and the trickster is the garishly dressed gentleman who pops out of the Jack-in-the-Box, who, if I had a choice of what career I wanted to do for the rest of my life, I would be him. He basically shows up in this guy's life and is like, hey, I'm the trickster, gonna make your life weird for a while. And so he takes the innocent through what is essentially like a parallel world that shows him, like, all this random stuff that happens, and then tricks him into thinking that he's got magic powers by giving him what is essentially just an inert, empty wand. And then whenever the innocent is like, I got this, the trickster is like, yeah, do that thing. So it looks like the innocent is doing it. But then at the end of it, he's like, yeah, alright, well, I'm done here. You can keep the wand if you want, but it doesn't really do anything anymore because we've established that it doesn't do anything. I'm out. See you later, bye. And then the innocent is like, well, that was weird. Gonna go back to flying my kite! So that is a little bit about this trickster-type deity. And I hope that you had a good time listening to it. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on my socials, which is Twitter and Facebook now. I've got a Facebook, ha ha ha. You can also take a look at some of my other videos, and if you feel like you are inclined to do so, you can click on my Patreon icon and maybe send some love my way. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.